Shalom, Mispacha family. Tonight I have a very important video that I'm going to do here because I feel led by the Ruach to do this. And it's not going to be easy. It's not something that I really want to talk about, but I am feeling led to. And it's necessary because of what I've been through, and I feel many others are going through. And it's not to condemn anyone. This video is to expose and to show the truth about what is really happening on a large scale. And in attempts to help others that may be going through this, others that are victim to this, in relationships with their spouse or wife or girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever it may be. It could be your mother, your father. It could be somebody that is just in your life. It could be your boss. There are many people right now, and it's growing, I feel, that fit this description. What am I talking about? Well, narcissism, which I feel is 100% demonic possession. And many times people are completely unaware of this fact. So to prove my point, I will read some scriptures tonight. But first, I want to go over the basics. All right. I know that this lighting is not the best, and it's late at night, and I'm just trying my best here to do something instead of doing it on my computer. So I got some basic information on the board here, and some of it is from the internet on the basics of the definitions, and then some is from my own experience. And this is just scratching the surface, my friends. But I want to first, before I go through this, let you know that I myself went through this with 3 different relationships that I know of, and most likely more. Because every time I got into a relationship, I was attracted to these kinds of people, the narcissistic type of people. And they were attracted to me because I was the empath, the kind person that was easygoing. And many times these are the type of people that they take and try to manipulate, because I also feel that they are after your light, not because they want to feel your light, but because they want to steal your light or destroy your light from you. It is like the evil eye, right? And I'm going to show more of this as I speak with you here. But let's just go over it first before I tell some of my story. Narcissism, I feel, as I labeled it up here on this board, is demonic possession. So number 1 is excessive preoccupation with or admiration of oneself. Okay? They are all about themselves, the admiration of oneself. Okay? Personality disorder by self preoccupation, need for admiration, lack of empathy, and unconscious deficits in self-esteem. Number 3, erotic pleasure derived from contemplation or admiration of one's own body of self, especially as a fixation on or a regression to an infantile stage of development. Now, this may be all word salad and confusing, but what I have come to find, if you look on the right side of the board there, that the narcissistic person lacks love and empathy. So they love themselves over others, and they're not willing or capable of loving their neighbor or others as themselves, as it tells us to do in the scriptures, which I will give to you later. They totally lack empathy, total lack of empathy. All right. They're professional manipulators, and they will not admit their wrongs. Right. They're professional also at gaslighting and blame shifting, controlling and dominating the family. So it's basically got to be their way. Now, sometimes they say that there's covert or overt. There's people that are, you see this and they don't hide it. And then there's people that actually do it in a very sly and sleek and sneaky way. So there's different types of them. But they will build you up only, just to break you down. And that's the whole goal of these people. They're not interested in your growth, but they do find you and are attracted by you because of your light and because of your social abilities and because of your just willingness and your determination in life. They feel inadequate, and a lot of times it's because of self-esteem issues and things like this. But moreover, when you really think about what's going on here, because after all the relationships that I've had and actually seeing demonic things happen to me from these people, I know beyond a doubt that this is demonic possession because of the experiences that I have witnessed. And it's really sad because they have fallen into this and they're incapable of forgiveness. They're incapable of admitting wrongs. And what ends up happening is they just get further and further away from the Most High. And it's really sad because many of these people are filled with more than one demonic possession entity. There are so many different things that they are capable of doing, and each one is wicked. And so I wanted to share a little bit about what happened to me, and not super detail, but I wanted to say that as I was going through my divorce, I remember the constant manipulation. And whenever I would feel like I just wanted to, get closer to this person and fix the problem, she had nothing to do with it. And she would basically, act like I was non-existent. And so it was extremely hard to fix anything in our relationship. She would cheat on me and sleep with other people, and then basically, want everything from me and never gave anything really in return. I was the one that would provide, and she was the one that would take. Because I loved her so much at the time, I just kept doing it because I wanted to please her. But as time went on, I realized that she was just sucking me dry. It was all about sucking the life out of me. And I got so far down in my life with her, so depressed, that I remember one time I was out in my car because I was trying to, talk to her and confront her about some things that she was doing and being dishonest about. And I had just bought a house in Hawaii, in Waimea, on the Big Island. And I remember I gave her a white picket fence, a house, and a new car. And she basically was not working. And, she was still unhappy. She was very young. But I remember my children were very young. I believe, my daughter was basically around 4, and my son was maybe 1 or 2. And I was out in the driveway, my vehicle, basically just crying my heart out because I could not get any empathy from her. She was just like, she didn't care. She just didn't care because of the things that we were going through. It was always my fault and not hers. And so I remember taking a full bottle of alcohol, and I literally drank the whole bottle of hard liquor in my vehicle. I think at the time I didn't even care, but I could have just really died of alcohol poisoning because I didn't even take any break, really. I just kept drinking it all night, and I was so sick. But maybe it's because she had made me feel so low that I felt like I wanted to die. And this is not the only time that I felt this. Without, going into a lot of the story, there's more instances of these things that happened. And I loved her, right? I was always good to her. And there was kindness in her at times, but it was only for a period of time to get what she wanted. She was very into herself and sexual. Every time we would go to a public store, it was time for her to dress up and impress everyone. She wore very provocative clothing and lots of makeup. And this was many years ago. And now I see that this is increasing nowadays with people wearing makeup and all these things. And also, after my divorce, I had another girlfriend for a while that was extremely like this also. And there was only one person during my relationship time, in between relationships, where she wasn't this way, but most of the women that I was with were like this. And then even recently, in my last 2 years, I ran into another situation where more of this happened. But it was even worse, because what's really happening is, I feel the enemy knows our weakness, and he knows that there's certain ways that he must get to us. And this is one of the ways that he got to, attack me, but it never was successful because I came out of it and I realized the, manipulation and the demonic activity that was involved. And it's really sad because most of the people, or pretty much actually all the people that I have witnessed this, behavior with, I've cared for all of them, and I saw many great qualities of them. But when I really saw the truth of their nature, it was the most evil thing that I could even imagine. I've been gaslit. I've been manipulated. I've been kicked out of a house multiple times. I can't even go into details, you guys, because it would be just too much. But the whole point is that I believe that I had to go through these things in order to realize that we are in a spiritual battle. And this happens to a lot of people. And, there's so many things I could say. I mean, it's hard to put into words, but the things that have happened to me within the last few years have been such an eye-opening experience, because I finally, after so many of these relationships in my life with narcissistic people, I finally started to realize what was really happening. It's not really even so much the people, it's what they have inside them, because they, at the basic level, are incapable, at least right now, they're incapable of coming to the truth that they have an issue and a problem. And even in the possibility that they feel that they have done something wrong, they will not admit it. And to me, this is the opposite of what the scriptures tells us to do, right? We are called to love our neighbor as ourselves. And these individuals do exactly the opposite of that. And they're very good at it. But at the same time, people keep falling for this because many times these people are attractive, or they're, they come and they give you all of this praise and worship and energy. And actually, I want to write down a few other things and give you some scriptures right now. So I will come on the screen here and go into a little more detail about this. So what I'll do is just take a little space here and show you what the first stage of this is, I feel. The first stage is what I call the love bomb. And I wrote down some notes here. So basically what I feel happens, everyone, is when they find their target, when they find the person that they want to steal this light away from, or they want to destroy this person. I know it sounds evil and wicked, but this is what I feel happens. I feel that they are in a spiritual evil and wicked place. And they are looking for someone that will perform their deeds and their task, and will basically worship and praise them and do all these things. And what the narcissist person does is they find the perfect candidate, right? The one that will fall basically for them and just do everything that they want, basically. And this is basically what they do when they first meet you, is they love bomb you, right? They get you to just be feeling like, yeah, this is a great situation, and this is like, I'm so happy I met this person, and all those things. But then they start controlling and manipulating you. It gets increasingly hard to be around them because they have to have things a certain way. And if you don't perform these things in the way that they want, then you basically get yelled at, you get mistreated. So you're basically built up and broken down over and over and over again. So what they're doing is they're not only manipulating and molding you, but they are basically just destroying any kind of like stability you have in yourself and confidence, because you're just basically being manipulated all the time. I don't know how else to explain it. And it's one of those things where you almost have to go through it in order to even realize how terribly wicked it is. And so that's the first stage. Then I feel, there's so many other stages, but one of the next things I feel is that they basically get you to be attached, right? So okay, so you're now attached, right? And you're drawn in, all right? And from this point on, you basically, you don't really see all the issues, right? Because you're still in that phase of everything is still okay. You don't see a lot of the things right away that the person embodies and what they do. But as time goes on, that's when a lot of these things start to happen, and the manipulation, and they start to treat you very badly. And what ends up happening a lot of times is this: because they don't want to hear anything that they've done wrong, when you come to them with an issue, they will try to flip the script. And what ends up happening is they will try to find something to pin on you, whether you did it or not. But most of the time it's something that is very insignificant, and they will just pin it on you and basically say, well, you have anger issues, or you have this problem, and you said this, or you did that, all because they don't want to be exposed for what they have done. And so they basically make you to be the bad guy, right? This is exactly what happened with me and my ex-wife. She did all of the fornication and the adultery and cheated on me. And then when I tried to give her many, many chances, she kept doing it over and over again. Over and over again, I kept giving her chances, and I was forgiving her. I'm a very forgiving person. And then finally I had to draw the line, because I found out that she just would not change. And in the end, she never ever said sorry. But instead what she did was made everyone believe and herself that I was the problem, right? That I was the verbal abusive one or whatever, so that she could have the blame switch, right? And what's terrible about this is nothing ever gets resolved. The issue just basically happens over and over again. And I actually had this happen to me multiple times in different relationships. And I know it's like, why do you keep getting into these relationships? Well, I think it's because of the kind of people, like, and the kind of person I am, right? These type of people are attracted to us. I honestly feel that in a major way, they are attracted to us because the demonic entities or whatever is inside of them is looking for the chosen, is looking for the people like us, right? The people that try to put other people first and are that have empathy and all these things and have love for others. So there's some other things I wanted to say, but I mean, I'm not going to make this video too long. And what I'm going to do actually is maybe make another part, but I wanted to read something to you out of 2 Timothy 2. And this really describes a lot about what is happening in these days. And if you look in the scriptures, you will find the traits of these people under the proud. You'll find it in Proverbs, you'll find it in other places, and also under the foolish. Because, there is a way that we are to treat people. And I'm going to read actually that first, because now that I think about it, because this is the most important part of our commitment to walk in the commandments, right? So in Mark here, it says in 12:28, it says, "And one of the scribes came, and having heard them reasoning together, and perceiving that he had answered them well, asked him, which is the first commandment of all? And Yahusha answered him, the first of all the commandments is, Hear, O Yasharal, Yahuwah Eloheinu, Yahuwah is one. And you shall love Yahuwah, your Elohika, with all your heart, and with all your soul, your nefesh, and with all your mind, and with all your strength. This is the first commandment. And the second is namely this: you shall love your neighbor as yourself." So if we are incapable of loving others as ourselves, if we are incapable of putting others first, then you're not following the Torah. And if you're not doing that, most likely it's because you're operating in the flesh, you're operating in the carnal, you're operating in demonic possession, and you need deliverance. Because the heart is wicked beyond all things, right? But we are given a new heart of flesh when we are converted, and the Ruach HaKodesh comes into our life. And to be set apart, to be separate, called out, I don't like to say that word, set up, S-E-T, but to be called out, right? We have to walk as Yahusha walked. right? And loving your neighbor as yourself. And this is something that these people cannot do. They may appear to do it, but it is in a superficial or false way. When it comes down to knowing these people on a personal level, you will see that they are void of this. You will see that they do not have love in their heart for other people. It is just not there. You're not the first thing on their mind. They themselves, because of their self-centeredness, that is the most important thing to them, is their own self and their own life. So if you go to 2 Timothy 3, it says, "But know this, that the last days hard times shall come, for men shall be lovers of self, lovers of silver, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, thankless, wrongdoers, unloving, unforgiving, slanderers, without self-control, fierce haters of good, betrayers, reckless, puffed up, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of allure, having a form of reverence, but denying its power. And turn from these, for among them are those who creep into households and captivate silly women loaded down with sins, hata, led away by various lusts, always learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. And as Yohani and Mamre opposed Moshe, so do these also oppose the truth, men of corrupt minds, found worthless concerning the belief. But they shall not go on further, for their folly shall be obvious to all, as also that of those men become." So there really is no excuse for this behavior, but the reason I'm doing this video is because I want others to see that everything is a spiritual condition, right? We are in a spiritual battle, and the enemy will use these people against you to break you down and to cause you to sin and to cause you to be broken. That is why you must have discernment, and you must not be around these people. The best thing to do when you find out that you're around this type of person is to get away, forgive them and love them, but get away from them and let them be. Because it's like the blind leading the blind. You know, they will both fall into the ditch, right? We cannot help many of these people. They have to repent. They have to be delivered. But most of the time, in the relationships that I've had with these type of people, it just hasn't happened, right? They're not willing to fast and pray. And maybe if they are, they still haven't come to admit their wrongs. Still to this day, my ex-wife and the others that I am talking about have not tried to make amends. They have not done any of these things because in their minds, they have done nothing wrong. You know? And, the other reason I made this video, everyone, is because I hope and I palal and pray that it will at least, be something that will be useful to someone that is in these situations, or at least warn others to stay out of this, because not only is this something that many people are going through in relationships, but I feel that much of the world is turning to demonic possession and self-idolatry and narcissism and pride. If you look around our culture, it is everywhere, and it is just infecting everything. It is worse than Sodom and Gomorrah, like the scripture says it would be. It is turning so wicked because the love of these people is gone away, and they love themselves more than anything else. I do hope and pray all the time that they will wake up. I myself forgive each and every person that has done these things to me. I pray for these people often, honestly. I pray for all the people that have done these things to me in my life. And my true hopes and prayer is that they would have true deliverance, and that Yahushua would come into their life. And some of them believe that he is with them already. But I can tell you by fact of seeing it myself that there are people that believe that they are saved and they are okay, but have these issues. So it is very important to have discernment of ourselves and know that it is so important for us to really search for the wickedness that is in us, right? We must have true deliverance. And then you will be able to go forward from there. So with that being said, everyone, this is what I was led to share. There's so much more about this conversation, and it's really a hard thing to talk about, honestly. But I feel that it's necessary because I went through so much of this in my life. But now I am renouncing this from my life. I am moving on from it and getting away from these type of people and being separate from these people because they are toxic. And the truth is, they may be very upset at this video. They may be very upset that these things are being revealed, not just by me, but by other people. But this is the time of revealing. This is the time that people need to get right. They need to get right. And in order to get right, sometimes there needs to be prayer and fasting, because some of these things cannot come out but by fasting and prayer. So please, if you believe that anyone that you know or even yourself has anything like this happening, take it to Yahuwah and really search deep and find that last bit of humanity inside you and just call out and say, I am guilty of this, or I have done this to other people. Repent, be forgiving, Because I can tell you right now that forgiveness, or excuse me, unforgiveness will actually open doors and cause things like this to happen to you. I feel that there's a possibility that some of these people have gotten to be this bad because of their selfishness, of course, but also because they have not forgiven other people in their life. You know, they are unable to admit that they have a sliver in their eye, right? As it says in the scripture, you must first take the board out of your own eye so that you can see clearly enough to take the sliver out of your brother's eye, right? So please work on that board that is in your eye so that your eye and your light would be full, right? And so with that being said, everyone, I hope this kind of, did some tube and was beneficial. And with that being said, until next time, shalom.